WATCHOG just achieved a decent result in a tournament with 6,000 players. Hello everybody, welcome to a new video, and yeah, your eyes are not deceiving you, you're not going insane. WATCHOG is the protagonist of today's video. What happened there? Have we all lost our collective mind because of Mega Floet? No. What has happened is at Scrow's tournament, the tournament that Jacob Scrow hosted during the last weekend, 6,000 players participated, which is a massive number. It's probably one of the largest, if not the largest, VGC tournament in the history of the format. And during this tournament, a person called Elijah, that's kid, decided to surprise everybody, surprise the tournament participants, and surprise people that watched the tournament, and surprise the people that decided to cast the tournament by bringing WATCHOG, the kind of Pokemon that, when you look at the roster for Pokémon Champions, you have no idea why this Pokemon was even introduced in this game. This Pokemon has literally nothing going for it except being a nightmare for when you match up against Lenora's gym in Pokemon Black and White. And at that point, yes, it's kind of a nightmare because it has decently high stats for that point in the game, but for the rest of the game, WATCHOG has nothing going for it. Literally nothing. Nothing. Not a single thing. But this person managed to reach Day 2, 9 victories, 4 defeats. With WATCHOG in a 6,000 player tournament. That is insane. And I know your eyes are also pointing probably at the fact that WATCHOG is not the only weird Pokemon here, because you can see here a Meowscarada, but we're going to talk about Meowscarada in a second. Before we start, I wanna remember that this was recorded live on the purple platform that you can find in the description, so you can catch these moments live, and you can catch a couple of, chit-chat, talks, testing random stuff, testing weird stuff, with the rest of the community. So, if you wanna join, if you wanna click follow, the link is there in the description. And if you also wanna subscribe to this channel in order to get all the notifications for where new content arises, well, you'd be informed if you subscribe and ring the bell. Thank you in advance if you decide to do so. But let's start talking about this team. Let's start from the guest star, WATCHOG. Choppleberry Analytics with Crunch, Hypnosis, Low Kick, Ice Punch. With not a single normal type move, which is hilarious. So, what is happening here? Choppleberry essentially makes this Pokemon a Pokemon with no weaknesses for a single turn. Okay, which is already a decent thing. Granted, WATCHOG stats are not crazy, but it can resist on it, I guess. I wanna point out that Elijah has posted on their Twitter the full team code for Pokémon Champions. It's probably on the screen right now. Unfortunately, I cannot currently access it. So we're going for Showdown. What happened here is this WATCHOG with this coverage is very good at protecting a Pokemon such as Charizard from other Garchomps, Kingambit, and Taitar. Protects from Garchomp thanks to Ice Punch. Protects from Taitar and Kingambit thanks to Low Kick. And for all the Psychic and Ghost type of the meta as Crunch. And then we have a funny Hypnosis with no gravity. No, this Sublime doesn't have gravity. If you were hoping for some help for some semblance of help from this supply at hitting more hypnosis, well, you'd be wrong, because this team goes straight up on your face, doesn't care, just press the funny button. And this is what this team does. Why all of this though? Because if you noticed, this Pokemon is brave. I made, it's probably what Elijah also made on their team. The reason is because we want Analytic to proc, essentially, to activate. Analytic says this Pokemon attacks have 30% power if it's the last to move in a turn. With this lowest possible stat, hopefully, of the turn, WATCHOG can deal an increased amount of damage. Therefore, since we don't need speed, we can invest a bit in bulk and maximize the attack as much as possible. So, you're probably going to see this Pokemon pick up some decently serious damage. So, yeah. And it's funny because Analytic is not that good of an ability. And it's not like that WATCHOG has choice, like it has Illuminate, Skin Eye, which are basically the same exact ability. I don't know, Game Freak, inner focus to this Pokemon? Something like that? No? Okay. So yeah, this is the set for WATCHOG. Let's go over the rest of the team. We mentioned Sableye, Jose Libelli, Prankster, Reflect, Thunder Wave, Foul Play, and Quash. This is your usual annoyer Sableye that kinda helps the team by being very annoying. It's going to resist a Fairy type hit thanks to the Jose Libelli, Prankster, bulky because cannot get a taunt from other Pranksters because it's a dark type, cannot be fake outed. Sableye always sounds like a decent Pokemon. The problem is these stats are very low usually, so doesn't always get to shine all the time, but it can sometimes show up and be a little guy, okay? The next up is Farigiraf without Trick Room. Farigiraf without... sure, why not? Farigiraf without Trick Room. Okay, Silk Scarf, Psychic Helping Hand, Dazzling Gleam, and Hyper Voice, not Protect. You're going to see in a minute. This is a damaging Farigiraf with Helping Hand to support the team. I guess it's nice because it still stops the opponent from ever using a priority move. So in general, you can just click Helping Hand and click Heat Wave with Mega Charizard Y. So I guess the value of Farigiraf being basically only on the combo of Mortail Helping Hand can make sense on this team. Then we have your usual Garchomp. Choice Scarf with Rough Skin, Dragon Claw, Rock Slide, Stomping Tantrum, Earthquake. Nothing to see here is the usual Garchomp that you are going to see in the majority of the metagame. Then we have Mega Charizard Y, Solar Beam, Heat Wave, Dragon Pulse, and Protect. This team is very weird, as you can see, and as we already established. But the addition of Dragon Pulse on Mega Charizard Y set is not too bad. Mega Charizard X is rising a lot in usage because people are using the new Pokemon and the new stuff for support for a Mega Charizard X team. And Mega Charizard X just so happens to perfectly wall Mega Charizard Y. So adding Dragon Pulse can be an answer to that, can also be an answer to a non-Scarf Garchomp, which are probably going to outspeed because if it's not a Scarf Garchomp, it's probably bulky Garchomp, so it's not always fully invested in speed, therefore you can just click Dragon Pulse. And if it is Scarf, you can just click Quash, and then Dragon Pulse the Scarf Garchomp out of existence, and you solve a big issue solely with Charizard, although you wanna use WATCHOG with Ice Punch, so there's that, but it's just another way. Garchomp is a big counter for our friend Charizard here. And then we have Focus Sash, Protean, Meowscarada, Flower Trick, Low Kick, it rhymes, Sucker Punch, and Triple Axle. Now, the coverage on this Pokemon is kinda crazy, and it's a given being a Protean Pokemon. It's interesting, it's another way to deal with all the fighting weaknesses that we have currently in the meta. Taitar, King Gambit, Incineroar, and so on and so on. Flower Trick is a good move in general because, if I recall correctly, I always results in a critical hit, so it's actually a decent move. Then you have Sucker Punch because, Basculegion and so on are always going to be very annoying. So you are going to need a very good Dark type move. And it just so happens that Meowscarada has the perfect answer. And then Triple Axle, another way to deal with all the dragons, all the grass types, all the ground types that are running around in the meta. As you are noticing by now is that this team only has one Protect on Charizard. Protect is the fundamental of the VGC. Maneuvering a team with not many Protects is not usually easy, but we're going to try. So triple difficulty, WATCHOG, only one Protect in the entire team, and a team that I never used, I'm going to use now for the first time. So, yeah, it's going to be not. I'm going to go insane, but this is why you are here. You're here to see me go insane. So let's cut the all the talk and just let's search for the first battle. We see here a very interesting team with Hisuian Zoroark, Mega Drampa, Talonflame, Rotom Wash, Sneasler, and possibly Mega Gardevoir, which is going to be very I don't know who's more hardcore there. Okay. I feel like Meowscarada is not too bad here. Of course, we have to keep in check that Sneasler and that Gardevoir and a bit that Talonflame. But I feel like we can solve that issue. Scarf Garchomp seems very nice here. I don't know about WATCHOG. Well, WATCHOG seems to be decent. What I will do is I will lead Sableye Charizard, and then in the back I wanna bring Meowscarada and WATCHOG and see what happens. They lead, of course, Gardevoir, Talonflame. However, we don't know if this Talonflame is actually Talonflame since it's the last in the order of their team, at least as it's shown here. We don't know if this Talonflame is actually Talonflame or if it is our friend Zoroark. And they lead then Gardevoir, which copied Prankster. My luck is astounding. What I will do is, I guess I will just click Heatwave here, and probably click Thunder Wave on this Talonflame. No matter what it is, it's going to get Thunder Wave. Yep, it's Zohar, which tricks actually the choice scarf on our supply, and they put the Rampa with Cloud9. Ooh. Without that Cloud9 from the Rampa, this Zohar would have gone down from the Heatwave, just to let you know. Unfortunately, our opponent doesn't know that we have, in fact, the Dragon Pulse here. So, it's not going to be nice for them. So what I will do is lock our supply in... Actually, I will use Reflect for future reference. You know, our opponent has Sneasler, our opponent has Talonflame, so I may as well... Oh god. I may as well save for the future. I think I need to protect Charizard here and probably put Meowscarada here. Yeah, that way then we can... if Meowscarada resists, the Rampa protects the Shadow Ball on Charizard. Okay. This way I can do two things. The first one is Dragon Pulse on the Rampa, and the second one is Flower Trick on Zoroark and take them both down. Of course, Gardevoir switches in and saves the Rampa. Is going to be immune from our Dragon Pulse. We have the Sash intact on Meowscarada. We know this is the actual Talonflame that is probably going for... we cannot Sucker Punch, which sucks. And I know that because Talonflame is faster and has Gale Wings active, so I may need to sacrifice Charizard here, and the next thing I'm going to do is probably going to be use Flower Trick or Triple Axle on Talonflame and break Gale Wings to avoid a future Prankster Tailwind. Yeah, I will triple Axle Talonflame. They straight up go for Tailwind, so we lose Charizard there, but we hit... we do it for damage on Talonflame. Now we are a bit in a... situation, but at least hear me out. We have the opportunity to bring out either Sableye or WATCHOG here. I'm probably bringing WATCHOG here, which is something I never thought I would say, because yeah, we do not have the Rosalie Berry anymore. So we gotta put WATCHOG on the team. Well, not on the team, but on the field. And I think we click Crunch and we click Sucker Punch on Talonflame. Talonflame somehow resists. And WATCHOG doesn't resist Hyper Voice. Which is something I thought it could do. Well, I don't think we can win this. They protect, they double protect. Oh, they wanted to see what I'm locking myself in. Well, I don't think you needed to do that. You can just Dragon Pulse and Hyper Voice on Sableye. I think you're going to be okay. Yep. Well, that went as poorly as it could have. Feats. It's... Come on, I can do this. I can do this. It's possible. I know. I believe in WATCHOG. I believe. Are we going to see Mega Chandelure here? We're going to see Mega Chandelure. For real. Well, This is going to be very weird. They open the list. Yeah, it's Chandelure. Okay, it's the usual common set as well. I don't know, guys. I have no clue. I guess I bring Garchomp and Sableye, and I wanna set up a Reflect for WATCHOG later, because it can do well against Chandelure, it can do well against Como, it can do well against Sinistra. And then I may bring Farigiraf to stop Fake Out and Encore. Okay, double Intimidate, which is not exactly what I wanted. However, I have a safe switch with Farigiraf here, and I click Reflect, mostly because this Gyarados is going to Mega Evolve. Yeah, it's going to be immune to Thunder Wave, so I may just set up Reflect. Now, though, we have a problem. Oh god. Because on one end we can click Dazzling Gleam and hit this Gyarados very hard. And I can even click Quash on Sneasler. Why? Why did you bring Komoi? You opened the team list. You know I have Dazzling Gleam, bro. You know what? I think Foul Play now is starting to deal quite a lot of damage to this Gyarados. Goodness, they just one-shot Farigiraf, which is insane. Sableye, calm down. It's okay, Sableye. It's okay. I really wanna bring Garchomp here and click. They don't have flying types here. They do have fairy types, so I cannot really lock myself. Oh, if they had Whimsicott, they would have already brought it. So I'll just click Thunder Wave and click Dragon Claw on Gyarados, and of course they have Whimsicott. They crunch Sableye, so we cannot switch this Garchomp here. Which is not what I wanted here. Come on, opponent. Funny story. Us not having a single Protect in this team, except the one on Charizard, means that we cannot protect ourselves from this Sneasler. However, what I will do here is click the Dragon Claw. Like, this opponent is probably going to think, okay, I can just one-shot WATCHOG. I'm just going to try an Ice Punch Whimsicott here. They protect the Sneasler, and they encore Garchomp for some reason. They saw the Scarf, and Ice Punch doesn't even one-shot Whimsicott. Or bring it to the Sash if it's sashed. But you know, I wanna hope. Yes, they click Tailwind, they Dire Claw WATCHOG, nothing happens. I Ice Punch on Whimsicott. Funnily enough, now we are in a position. Well, it's not really a winning position. The opponent has Tailwind here, so they can just Clanging Scales and win here. Yeah, it's not really a winning position here. They just Clanging Scales Oh my god! It works! It works! It works! I cannot believe! I cannot believe this worked! How did this Como not attack in Tailwind? Is this Como slower in Tailwind than 253? Like, it's not a max speed Como or an... Oh my god! It was... WATCHOG, I am so sorry, I probably played you wrong the previous times. I'm so sorry, WATCHOG. You are the god, WATCHOG. I am very sorry. I am very, very, very sorry. I really apologize to you, WATCHOG. I apologize. I don't know what to say anymore. I'm just amazed by all of this. This is peak. Okay? This shows that there's room for testing wacky ideas in the VGC, and if they are valuable, they can still bring you to the top in some way, even if they're the wackiest Pokemon ever. You can still give everybody in the tournament a good time, because at the end of the day, it's also what this game can be about if you have the spirit of the guy that just wants to, you know, have fun. And if you happen to find something that works, that is also very funny, it's good. Now, let's talk about WATCHOG. Of course, I just said that with a lot of creativity and a lot of whimsy, you can find something that can work. However, this Pokemon still requires a lot of setup in order to work. It has to attack last, it has to resist the hits, if the hits are ever coming to that Pokemon, so it's kinda difficult to set up. However, it can still damage here and there a couple of Pokemon without you having too much of an headache. Of course, with very fast threats such as Garchomp, Charizard, and Meowscarada, which, honestly, Meowscarada kinda surprised me. Meowscarada seems a very interesting Pokemon to brainstorm with. So yeah, I feel like we should take a look at Meowscarada further. So yeah, Meowscarada is not bad. WATCHOG. It's kinda weird that didn't one-shot that Whimsicott. Probably that Whimsicott is invested very bulky, which is probably what the opponent had, because that combo was surprisingly slow. So what I'm thinking is was incredibly bulky in their team, which is a possible reason to why that Whimsicott resisted at 32. But yeah, it's also a surprise factor because your opponent is never going to think about WATCHOG dealing any serious damage, and then it won the last match and reached the top day 2 on a 6,000 players tournament. So yeah, Farigiraf is Farigiraf, okay. Granted, no Protect is a bit of an issue, but Farigiraf is kinda used on not running Protect. It's just not Recon here feels a bit weird, but you don't want WATCHOG to attack first because of Analytic. Sableye is Sableye, the usual annoying Pokemon, then you have these two. These two are usually just very strong, very powerful. They don't care which is what's ideally covering from damage for WATCHOG. You hit the other threat, then the other Pokemon attacks perhaps one of these two, and then WATCHOG sweeps in for the last win. It's what at least I am trying to understand here. So we're going to play live on stream with this team again. A couple more of matches. All the links are in the description. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day.